Hey YouTube, today we're talking about ghosts, but not the scary kind of ghosts, the ghosts in iRacing. And they're not even really called ghosts, they're called reference cars. So we're going to talk about reference cars and what you can do with them and all the great stuff you can do to make it make you faster. Now, first of all, I'm no expert on this stuff. I'm just learning iRacing, but I want to share the things I learn as I learn them. And one of those things, because I'm not as fast as I want to be, is the act of getting ghost cars or previous laps that I've done or that somebody else has done in so I can race against them and kind of learn from them. And that's something that's not new. That's been around in racing games for like 30 years. But iRacing does some really cool things with it, and they have different ways you can deal with ghosts. Like they have a way that you can actually be a ghost and race without all the racers that are racing that race know you're there. And you can actually practice by being in a race without actually being in a race, if that makes sense. And that's called a ghost race. And another way to do it is the regular way, which is you have a transparent version of your best lap on the same track you are, and you're racing against it, and so it goes around a complete lap, and you see if you can be better than that. But what's cool is iRacing breaks that down, so you can actually have it so that that lap is broken down by sector. So every sector of that track, you get a new ghost. So as you cross the sector line, you see the new ghost start, and you're able to race against that. And that's great because you don't go the whole lap, because if you kind of off tracked or something, you won't be able to keep up with that ghost around a whole lap. But with sectors, you can increase your optimal lap, and the whole best versus optimal thing is a really cool thing that that iRacing does. Your best, obviously, is what you've done on the lap. It's your best lap you've put together. But your optimal lap is what you're capable of, meaning you've done all those sectors, and they take all your best sector times and put them together to make your optimal lap time. So you're capable of doing it, but you just haven't done it yet. So having those optimal ghosts in the different parts of the track mean that you can race against just them on the sector and then learn that part of the track and hopefully ultimately put that lap together and, have it be wonderful and you be fast. Okay, to ghost race, what you do is you go to the website and you click on Find Official Races, and then you click on Watch, Ghost, Cruise, Spot, and then choose the type of series that you want. We're going to do Road Series. And then when this loads, you actually go down the list, and everything with the green binoculars you can join. Yellow means you don't have the content for it. You have to buy something. So I would choose one of these races down here, and then click Watch Now. This is the part where iRacing takes forever to load because it's an active session and I think data is changing a lot. So give it a second, go get a bite to eat, and come back when it's done loading. It'll probably take a couple of minutes. So now I'm able to hit test drive, and I can be right there with them, and I can... The cool thing about this mode is that you can use it to figure out if you're... I love hitting cones. Yeah.
Watch your mirrors, there's a car approaching.
You can figure out if you're of the same, you're made of the same stuff that these guys are, right? They can't see you and they can't run into you, so you want to be able to keep up with them, right? And you could draft them, you can get that whole thing. Everything is just like you're there except for the collision.
Clear left. Right side.
Oops.
Right side clear.
And you could blow your engines too. That's cool. So for regular ghosts, I'm gonna start here at what is it? Okayama International Circus. And I'm going to be racing an elephant. Okay, right now we have this reference car thing checked in the Delta box. I'm going to just call this the Delta box because it's kind of keeping track of what you've done recently and before. Right now we have it on all-time optimal sector, and that means that it's showing me a time for my best optimal lap, and my best lap is in there too. And it doesn't have any sector times right now, but as I drive around, I'll start to set sector times, and those sector times will pop up in there, and we should get a ghost to race against as well. So there's a ghost right there, and there's our sector time. So we're a little ahead of it, and we're a little behind it. So even though I'm behind him on the track, I can actually be faster than him because he's actually got a half-second head start. So here comes another one. There he is, half-second in front of me. And I'll try to best the time. Almost got him. You can see how as I oversteer or as I late brake, I can get ahead of the pace, but can't hold on to it. If I change this to reference, the reference car to all-time best lap, I should get a ghost on the lap start. There he is. And this ghost will last the whole lap, so I gotta try to beat him the entire lap. So he's showing me, this guy is representing the lap that I put together, not all the best sectors in a row. This is an example why you'd want to have it on the sector-based thing. So if you're really trying to get faster around the track in pieces, throw it to optimal sector, all-time optimal sector right there. And then we should get a new ghost at the next sector. Right about here. There he is.
The track temperature is falling. It's now 180 Fahrenheit.
And see, where I would have not probably increased my time on that sector before, I just kind of bested my own time on that last sector and improved my optimal lap time. And I'll show you here how, if you have gotten as good as you can get based on your ghost, maybe you can load somebody else's ghost and see what they do around the track. And in order to do that, I'll pop out of here real quick and get to the folder that contains your lap times, which is in Documents, iRacing, Lap Files, and then you find the track. So all the tracks are in here. You can get into each track and you can see which cars you've driven. So this is my ID, iRacer ID. I was in the MX-5 on this track, and I just have done the this Formula 2000 from the Skip Barber family. Yeah, so I don't have anybody in here but me. So let's pop over to one of my favorite Discords, which is Dave Cam, and he's got a channel on there that has OLAP and BLAP files, and there's a bunch of them on there. There's not everything, but there's a lot. So I'm going to take his OLAP file and download that, and then I'm going to go back to the Explorer thing and go to that guy. I'm going to copy him. And then I'll go back to where I was, and I'm going to paste it. And now there's an OLAP in there with his ID, and he's in the Skip Barber. So if I go back to iRacing, I should be able to get out of this pit mode, go back to here in Options, and in Options, and then in Comparison, notice there's nothing loaded there. If I click this Load button, I can choose Dave's lap and open it and say Done. And now when I test, over here, I'll just change that to comparison lap and comparison sector, because I loaded his OLAP and I want his sectors. So it'll be just be more fun to go against the sectors, because I know for a whole lap I can't keep up with them, and I can't keep up with it for a sector either. But you'll see how this works. Looks like the clouds are rolling in. So I should be getting a Dave up here in a second. There he is. Oh yeah, see? I can't even keep up with him with a corner. But again, this is where sectors are better than whole laps. Would you stop doing this, Skip, Mr. Barber? So my car's probably hurting by now, but I'll show you. So now in another sector, since I'm 12.5 seconds, 13 seconds behind him, at the end of this straight, I'll get a new guy, a new Dave. Shout out to Dave, by the way. He's amazing. I love his channel and all the videos he does, and he's a great driver. Case in point right here. Man, he really comes across there all the way. That's the one thing I gotta work on, is using the whole track, not horizontally or whatever that was. I'll get a new Dave Ghost. Thank you very much. And this kind of thing helps you because you're recording your laps at the same time. So even if I'm a second behind Dave, I'm actually improving. So you never get better in anything competitive unless you play against people that are better than you. Because, you know, big fish in a small pond isn't a thing.
Time was 48.20.
Yeah, see how that went purple too? Alright, that's enough of that. Got my best optimal lap and my best optimal force sector there, just by following Dave around. See? It's not too bad following people. The last thing I'll show you is in the iRacing folder, there's this app INI file, which is a good thing to copy before you mess with. If you open that in Notepad or something, and then as far as what we're talking about, ghosts and stuff, there's a section called Splits Deltas. And in there's a couple of, make this bigger for you. There's a couple of things in there to look at. All of this stuff has to do with the delta bar and how it resets and everything. But there's a couple of things that are specific to ghost cars, and that is you can set that interval, the gap between you and the ghost car when you start to see a ghost car. If he's far out in front of you, it's a positive number. If he's behind you, which I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it would be a negative number. Ghost car transparency, specific to the level of transparency that he is. I guess 1 would be completely solid, and 35% is what that is. Fade ghost car when close is positive. It's on, so that means that right when he's on top of you, you're not seeing this big car in your face. And disable at race start means I think you're not going to see a ghost car in the race. But also, what that does is for splits deltas, it also disables that delta bar in a race, which I like to have on during the race. So I put that at 0 so I can see that and I don't have to turn it back on again. So that's how that works. Alright, so that's all I've learned about Ghost so far. If there's anything wrong in there, sorry about that. Feel free to correct me in the comments. But if you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and click subscribe and click the bell to be notified when we have new stuff. And I guess that's it. All the YouTube stuff. Stay safe out there. See you next time.